Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to our webinar to introduce the training that will be proposed by the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, the European Space Agency, the Indian Space Agency, ISRO, and NASA. We're going to explain to you in the next hour the detail of what is being offered and what you would learn if you attend the training. I will now give the floor to Mr. Luc Saint-Pierre from the UN Office of Outer Space Affairs to bid us all welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathalie. Very briefly, good afternoon, dear colleagues and friends from Vienna, actually. I'm with the Space Applications section at the Office for Outer Space Affairs. We implement a substantial number of the capacity building activities of the office, including through the Program on Space Applications, which, by the way, is celebrating this year its 50th anniversary. Up to the pandemic, this delivery of capacity building was through well-tested methods, workshops, symposium, training programs, and other activities, similar activities, many in partnerships with space agencies, academic institutions, and others. With this event online today as a hands-on follow-up to the UN Austria Symposium on Space Applications for Food Systems, held online this week. And we realized during its preparation to both the symposium and this, that we look at creating more and more opportunities. And we saw with this symposium that with webinars, we are reaching more and more young researchers and students and other groups that may not normally be able to attend on-site events. So I welcome them today specifically, particularly to this online, which we think is very original in its format also and in the partnerships that it creates. What's interesting also is that because of the pandemic, we were somehow forced to jump into new means such as online courses, massive open online courses, webinars, tools that we were preparing for, but we're bringing in gradually, as complementary instruments. What we discovered since March last year is that webinars widen our reach, gives us more flexibility in the material we want to deliver, increases the number of participants very often. We can reach in different languages with the same material, different regions, different time zones, and also a different set of profiles of participants, which is very interesting also. So webinar does become much more than an adaptation to deliver our mandate during the pandemic. I think webinars are now part of our toolbox. And I guess it's the same thing in the partner agencies that are here today. So it is in that context that I'm very pleased to welcome you to this webinar, providing an original training experience through a series of activities on space-based Earth observation solutions. I want particularly to thank our partners of the European Space Agency, the Indian Space Research Organizations, and the National Administration, NASA, who joined us today for this. There will be a series of activities over the next few days or few weeks. So I hope each of them will be interesting to you, that you'll be able to follow them all, to see the complementarities between those, and that it will be beneficial to you. So thank you, and I hope again that you will enjoy and benefit from these. Thank you very much, Nathalie. Back.
Thank you very much, Luc, and I'll give the floor to Francesco Santi from the European Space Agency.
Okay, thanks, Nathalie, and hello, everybody. Hello, Luc. Hello, Prakash, Anna, and all the others. I'm very happy and honored to be here today, representing ESA, the European Space Agency, where I'm in charge of the coordination for the scientific training in remote sensing. And this is a very nice opportunity for us to start doing things again with you. We did a lot of activities in the past, workshops and so on, joined with UNOOSA. Unfortunately, for some time, this was no longer done, but this is a very nice opportunity which actually started from an idea that myself and Jorge discussed some time ago to revitalize our joint activities in terms of training. And so this joint course together with NASA, ISRO, and many others is a wonderful opportunity to start again doing things together, especially on a team, which is very important now for United Nations and worldwide, and which is linked to the SDGs and has a high impact and relevance, of course, for the future. I will not go into the details of this course, but my colleague Amalia will explain later which are the content which will be covered by ESA, NASA, Copernicus, and so on. And just saying that we have many other courses organized by ESA in remote sensing. You will see them in the next slides. And we are also preparing massive online open courses which are relevant to those interested in agriculture. There is one course in preparation which is coordinated by University of Jena about zero hunger, which will be very relevant for you. We are also going to launch soon a massive online open course on land applications. So this is also relevant to many of you. We have an ongoing with University of Jena, a massive online open course on radar remote sensing with many applications. So there are a lot of things ongoing that on top of this course will complement this material and should be interesting for people interested in agriculture. So very happy and looking forward to having this course with all of you. And also I hope that this will pave the way to future cooperation between our agencies and UNOOSA for future training opportunities. Thanks, Natalie, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Francesco. I'll now give the floor to Dr. Prakash Shohan from the Indian Space Research Organization.
Thank you, Natalie, and greetings to all present here in this very important online training opportunity, webinar, which we are basically promoting our forthcoming training on remote sensing for agriculture. In fact, the UNOOSA and ISRO is collaborating extensively, and many of you may be aware that we have a UN center, which is the Center for Space Science and Technology Education in Asia and Pacific, popularly called UNOOSA-ESA, which is basically supported by Indian Space Research Organization. And we are very happy to be associated here in this particular training program with UNOOSA and other space agencies like European Space Agency and NASA, in coming together for having this capacity building program on a very important topic on remote sensing for agriculture. In fact, I would like to emphasize over here that UNOOSA has completed 25 years of capacity building and remote sensing and geoinformatics training in Asia and Pacific region. And we have a very large alumni base. We are doing, especially in the context of the pandemic, most of the activities have been shifted to online mode, and we have also come out with some of the innovative ways of imparting our capacity with building programs. Recently, we have also completed the phase 1, and the phase 2 is going on a massive open online content, which is basically meant for disaster management with UNOOSA, UNSPIDER. Shirish may be talking more about such initiatives, as well as we have taken, we have started a series of online, webinars. And as Mr. Luke, just told that there are a lot of advantages of these webinar series in terms of, capacity building, need assessment in terms of reaching to the different target groups, as well as achieving the learning objectives for spreading the goals of Earth observation data applications for societal benefits. So with these words, once again, I welcome each one of you, and my colleague Dr. S.P. Agarwal will be talking more in detail about the training course which ISRO is going to offer as per this specific activity is concerned. Thank you, Natalie, and welcome to everyone for this particular webinar.
Thank you very much. We will now give the floor to Dr. Anna Paratos from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration from the United States. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm very pleased to be speaking today, and I'll be talking more about the details of the NASA portion of this webinar series. But just to introduce myself, my name is Anna Paratos, and I lead the Applied Remote Sensing Training Program, which is funded by NASA and provides freely available webinars and in-person training, has been for the past 10 years, on a variety of topics, not just agriculture, but other topics as well. This time around, we're very happy to be partnering with both ESA and also Agriculture Agri-Food Canada. We're partnering with them to provide a series of 5 webinars. And then we're also very happy to be part of this larger UNOOSA event. And I look forward to talking a little bit later with more details on some of the content that we will be providing through this webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will now go through the detail of the training courses with each of our speakers explaining what they will provide, what you will learn if you attend the course, and what might be the prerequisite for you to gain the maximum, knowledge out of attending the course. So first, we'll give the floor to my colleague, Sheri Sharman, from the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs.
Hi. So thank you, Natalie, for giving floor to me. So I will quickly share. I have about 10 minutes, right? But I will try to finish within 10 minutes or less than that. Just wanted to begin with some experience that recently I was in one of the conference and I conducted online survey, and I asked what is the most important thing for putting space technologies in use, in practical use. What is the most critical? So I gave them options like capacity building or access to data or the availability of infrastructure and so on. And I think 60% participants voted for capacity building. So that becomes most important. I'm happy that we are using this webinar as a gateway for our different capacity building programs that are offered by NASA, ISRO, and also UNOOSA. So let me begin my introduction to this massive open online course on geospatial applications for disaster management. This was jointly developed by UNOOSA UNSPADER program and Steve, just now Dr. Prakash from Indian Space Research Organization mentioned about this United Nations Affiliated Center for Space Science and Technology Education for Asia and Pacific. So he's director of that center and also he's director of Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. And we discussed this idea during COVID last year because they were not able to host any programs in person, and so was condition with us also. And then we decided, okay, let's launch one massive open online program, which when we talk of massive open online program, it caters the needs of wider audience, not very specialized kind of target group. So we kept that inherent characteristics of MOOC we maintained, and we launched this particular program, Geospatial Application for Disaster Risk Management, which is free and self-paced learning. So we basically contacted lots of experts around the world. You can see the list of organizations, almost 16 organizations from different parts of the world, including some of the private companies, space agencies, United Nations agencies. So they contributed the lecture. So there is quite a diverse coverage we have taken into account in this particular massive open online course. We divided this into 2 tracks because what we thought is that a lot of participants, they don't have expertise in geospatial technologies or space technologies or even disaster management. They may not be knowing fully, but they must be dealing with that. So track 1 basic modules basically is suitable for wide range of participants without expertise in geospatial or space technologies and disaster management. So for when participants register, they can start with track 1, and there are 2 modules and within each module there are different sessions conducted by our experts. So first module is about overview of disaster risk management and relevance of geospatial technologies, where we are talking of international frameworks, disaster risk reduction terminologies, and how Earth observation really contributes to it. And module 2 is more getting into details of Earth observations, its applications in disaster management. So these are a little more technical, but very in lucid manner it can be conveyed to a wider group of audience without getting into too many technical jargons. And then in addition, there are 4 use cases on landslide hazard, flood hazard, post-disaster damage assessment using high-resolution satellite images, and vulnerability assessment. So participants can also get benefited by learning about the use cases, practical uses, how this technology has been used in different parts of the world. Track 2 is more advanced module. So participants who clear track 1, they have to go through a quiz. And after clearing the quiz, they can be taken to track 2 module. If they want to discontinue from there, if they are not interested in advanced module because of their nature of job something, they can just take certificate for track 1, and those who are interested can enter into track 2 advanced module that aims at developing skills in using technologies for disaster management and emergency response. This is more hands-on and more advanced kind of discussions that they can find here, and this module is slightly bigger than the track 1. So module 3 is about track 2 is about Earth observation and geospatial intelligence for disaster management. Then 4 is about Earth observation systems for hydrometeorological disasters. Then next module is about geological disasters, and then last module is about environmental disasters. In each module there are several sessions and hands-on practice sessions offered in each of the module. We have also given links to recommended practices available on UN Spider Knowledge Portal. Along with each of the module, you will find these links, and once you click on those recommended practices, it takes you to Knowledge Portal of UN Spider, and from there you can refer the step-by-step procedures of landslide hazards or flood hazards or drought assessment or volcano assessment or those sort of things. So this MOOC is one way it is a self-paced learning, and also it's a gateway or window for accessing more resources from UN Spider Knowledge Portal. And thanks to the Chief Director Dr. Prakash and his team, Dr. Agarwal, who is also presenting another training program here. In record time, we completed and launched this MOOC on we launched this on the very significant day. It's called International Day for Disaster Reduction on 13 October 20. We closed this on 31 January. It is open again now. But I just wanted to give you in the phase 1, when we completed it, we had more than 29,000 participants taking the course. Out of that, almost 11,892 participants completed it successfully. And we also got feedback from more than 12,000 participants, and this is the distribution. So we can say that this course was really very successful, and this is also the graph from by country, different countries, how they attended these courses. We also got some very good statistics here. The gender participation, we expected a little more being online, but it was still 30%. 72% were students and 20% professionals. And if you look at the age group, 78% participants were from between 18 to 25. So more youngsters are taking these kind of courses. And when we evaluated this course with the 12,000 participants, we could see a lot of participants, basically 90%, they voted for outstanding or good. So that encouraged us, and based on the feedback we received from all these participants, we did some more enhancements in this course, and we launched phase 2 of this MOOC with the same name. We just call it phase 2 because we just added few more sessions and few more hands-on sessions, and this was launched on 1st June again. So now the course is again available. And taking advantage of this particular webinar, we decided, Dr. Prakash, his team, and we UNOOSA, we decided that we can keep this course open until end of November. So after this webinar, you may click on this particular link, and can join and actually pass on this link to all your contacts so that they can also benefit from this. This course is slightly different from typical research and academic course because it also includes lots of elements from United Nations and actually from practitioners. So you will find it very interesting. So I think that's about introduction of Massive Open Line course from our side. So thank you, and over to you, Natalie.
Thank you very much, Sherish. So a very interesting course also for beginners, people who are simply curious. Please have a look. The course is open already now. It's for free. It's online. You can access it even today. You will have all the information on our webpage. Thank you again, Sherish. And we will now move to the presentation of the courses offered by the European Space Agency and NASA. So shall I give the floor first to Dr. Paratos to present the courses from NASA?
Okay, so as I said earlier, I'm going to talk about the NASA portion of this. So NASA is hosting this 5-week webinar series. And in addition to collaborating with ESA, we're also collaborating with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. And I will introduce the speakers who will be providing the courses from there. So the RSET program, next slide. So the RSET program, as I mentioned earlier, provides remote sensing education through online and in-person trainings. They're all free and they're offered in a variety of formats. So we have like basic courses and then more advanced courses. All of the training materials are available in English and Spanish, and some of the trainings are also delivered in Spanish as well as English. And this is the case for the one that we're going to be talking about. And here I have some links to how you can sign up for the mailing list to learn about more trainings. We have a Twitter and a YouTube channel, and also a link to the website. Next. So this course is called Agricultural Crop Classification with Synthetic Aperture Radar and Optical Remote Sensing. That is the title of the course, and it will be live with a question and the sessions will be about 2.5 hours. There will be a lecture first, and then a live Q&A, question and answer period, where you can like type your questions and get answers to them. So the series has 5 parts. I'm going to talk about 2 of them now, and then Amalia will talk about the others later, and then Russ will talk about the other ones. So they're Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're on October 5, 7, 12, 14, and 19th. So the morning session is going to be in English, and that will be on at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Apologize for the noise. And then there will be a session in Spanish, which is at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern time. And then you can, to register, you can do that for free at these 2 websites. So there's a different link for English versus Spanish. Next slide. And so the speakers will be Heather McNairn, who is a scientist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. She has a lot of experience developing methods to map and monitor agriculture using all kinds of technologies, multispectral, hyperspectral, and also synthetic aperture radar. And Laura Dingle Robertson is also with the same organization and has a bit of experience using SAR, which is synthetic aperture radar, specifically for agriculture. And then Erica Podest is with the NASA RSET program, and she's at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and she will be doing the Spanish version of these 2 webinars, the webinars 1 and 3. And she has a lot of experience in remote sensing as well, and she's been with the RSET program for 5 years. Next slide. So the first part of this webinar series is a refresher. It's like it's an overview. It's some of the basic concepts of SAR, of synthetic aperture radar, such as phase, incidence, angle, concepts related to the geometry of polarization, etc. Then we'll talk about the optimal sensor parameters specifically for agriculture, and we'll talk a little bit about how soil and crop, about the soil and crop characteristics with respect to SAR. And then we'll have the question and answer period. Next slide. And then, so the NASA portion of this webinar series will also be not just part 1, but also part 3. Part 3 is getting into the crop classification using both the SAR imagery, the synthetic aperture radar, but also using optical. So this will be on October 12th. And Heather McNairn and Laura Dingo Robertson will also be the speakers for this one. And they'll provide a roadmap for how to produce a crop inventory, how to select these 2 types of data for the mapping, and then they'll talk about it from their own experience, how their organization collects the training data. And finally, we'll talk about SNAP, which is a very useful tool for pre-processing SAR imagery. So I welcome you. I hope you will be able to consider joining these webinars. There will be a certificate of completion awarded for this webinar series as long as you attend all 5 of them and complete the homeworks. Then you will get a certificate of completion. And again, here's the website where you can register. Registration will be open all the way, basically we will not close the registration. We'll open all the way till the end of the series. You can also attend just one of the series, but we do recommend you attend all of them. At least the first one will be important to attend the first one because it will provide you with the basics that then you can use it will help you follow the rest of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we will now move to the second part of this joint course, which is then from the European Space Agency. Shall I give first the floor to Francesco?
Yeah, thanks, Natalie. Yeah, I will just make a very brief introduction to our content. I will just like to spend a few words saying that on top of the course here, we have a lot of many other online courses, and they are all available from our webpage, and hopefully Amalia will also show the link for those. Thanks, Amalia.
Okay, so thank you, Francesco and Anna, for this introduction. We will now have a look at the parts of this webinar series where ESA is contributing, either directly or thanks to the collaboration with other partner institutions. That is Rus Copernicus, they will present after me, and the University of Louvain in Belgium. They cannot be with us today, so we do it on their behalf. So together, the 3 of us are taking care of 3 of the sessions in this webinar. So the first one is here, as you see on the screen. ESA will be presenting the second part of this webinar series on October the 7th.
Sorry, Amalia, we do not see the slide moving. We are still on your title page.
No. Okay, maybe I just come out of the...
I guess the problem is you may have 2 screens, and when you blow the screen, it goes on second monitor, and that needs to be selected.
Now you are on the slide 2.
I wish, but I'm only on my laptop actually. So is it better now because I moved from full screen?
We are on slide 2, yes. We are now on slide 2 for the part 2, optical remote sensing refresher.
Exactly, perfect. So yeah, I was saying that we will have this session in English. It will be followed by a Q&A, and later that same day there will be a session in Spanish, also followed by a Q&A. So the goal is to give a refresher of optical remote sensing and to introduce you to SNAP. And SNAP, for those of you who don't know, is the software developed by ESA. It is available for free, and it is used to process satellite data, not only Sentinels, by the way. So for that, we will have a theory session. It will cover the basic physics, the concepts, the basic concepts, and it will introduce you to the application of agriculture. And then we will have a practical session. It will be a demo where optical imagery will be pre-processed in the SNAP software. And then the Q&A. Here. Okay, so the materials of this part 2 have been developed by 2 colleagues from ESA. Fabrizio Ramoino, who is an expert in the exploitation of Earth observation data and their application. And Fabrizio has been working for ESA for many years. He has a lot of experience with SNAP, and he will be the presenter of the English version. Then Magdalena Fidzik, who is a remote sensing project scientist and focuses her work on SAR, but also on SNAP. She has worked for ESA for many years as well, and has given support to Fabrizio in the development of the materials. And then me, I will be delivering the Spanish version on their behalf. I have been working with ESA for about 3 years as a remote sensing project scientist, where I focus on giving support to the education activities. And as Francesco was mentioning before, the 3 of us are part of his team, and he's the scientific coordinator of the education and training activities. So we do a lot of trainings together in a website that I will show you at the end. Actually, at the end, no, in this slide. But first, where do we work? We are all based in ESA-ISRO. So ESCRIN is the site of ESA dedicated to Earth observation. In particular, we are part of the Directorate of Earth Observation Programs, which has inside a department dedicated to science, applications, and climate. And we are located next to the city of Rome in Italy. All our activities related to education are published in a web called EU for Society. And you can see the link there on the right. There is a section dedicated to training, and it lists all our past events with the materials published. This means PDFs, datasets, and also videos, recordings of the sessions when available. It also lists the massive open online courses, our MOOCs, where anyone can learn at their own pace. So we invite you to have a look at that website if you want to learn more about using the Sentinels for topics like forestry, agriculture, ocean applications, earthquakes, and much more. The levels range from basic for anyone in the public to advanced for researchers. And the website is linked to Twitter and a YouTube account called @EOOpenScience. So you can follow us on those channels too, to get updated and to view the recorded training sessions. Here. Okay, the next session we are contributing with is part 5. It will take place on October 19th, again in 2 different sessions, one in English and one in Spanish. The goal this time is a bit more advanced. We will discuss the retrieval of biophysical variables that can be derived from Sentinel-2, for example, leaf area index and many more. We will also talk about radiometric indices, so quantitative measures of features that are obtained by combining several spectral bands. This will only be a theory session, and it will be followed by a Q&A. It is led by 2 experts that I present to you in the next slide. They are coming from the University of Louvain in Belgium. Pierre de Fourny is a full professor and head of the Geomatics Research Lab at this university. He's a very well-known expert in satellite Earth observation and land use planning, and he has collaborated with ESA many times in the past. Then Sophie Bontemps is a guest lecturer and researcher at this university. She's also a very well-known expert that has collaborated with ESA many times before. So all in all, this session is a great opportunity to learn from those top experts. They have prepared the materials and will be delivering the English version. And I will be delivering the Spanish version on their behalf. Okay, so that's it for me. Before leaving the floor to our colleague of RUS, who will present the last part, here is some information. You can use those contact emails if you need anything. And you can, again, follow us in those social media accounts where we publish our events and the recorded videos of our trainings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we can now move to the last ESA speaker.
So, as mentioned before, we, RUS Copernicus, will contribute with an exercise in this training. I'm Georgia Karadimo, and just let me give you an overview of our part. This is the part 4 of this webinar series, which will take place on October 14th, and it will be delivered in 2 different sessions in English and Spanish like the previous ones. This will be the continuity of part 3 presented before, that will be delivered on October 12th, and it will include an introductory part and a practical one, where we will give a demonstration. First, we will explain what random forest and support vector machines are, how they work, and how they can be used for crop classification. We will also talk about the unsupervised algorithms as classifiers. Then we will continue with processing the data that has been prepared on part 3 using Snap and Python. And after having provided some information about the Python libraries that will be used, we will run the classifiers in JupyterLab. At the end, we will have a dedicated Q&A session. This webinar will be delivered in English by my colleague Teresa and in Spanish by Amalia, and all together we will be there to answer to your questions. Just a few words about Teresa and myself. We are both working for the last years as remote sensing specialists for the RUS Copernicus project in Cerco, Italy. And we have a background in geography and geology respectively, and over 5 years of working experience in Earth observation applications and education each. Okay, and now I will just shortly give you an overview of the RUS Copernicus project, what it is. RUS stands for Research and User Support for Sentinel Core Products, and it is an initiative funded by European Commission and managed by ESA. It started in 2017, and it will be completed at the end of this year. This service provides a powerful computing environment via virtual machines with open source toolboxes pre-installed, all for free. RUS also provides support to the remote sensing activities about Sentinel data, and it offers various training activities. Speaking of which, over 40 webinars have been delivered up to date on different topics, accompanied by analytical PDF tutorials, and over 50 events have been organized and delivered either as face-to-face or remotely like this one. They took place in almost every European country. So, in these 2 websites, you can find all the necessary information about the project, the material we create, and the training opportunities. Plus, also you can practice through the e-learning platform we offer. If you just write RUS Copernicus or RUS Training, you will find these websites. And finally, I would like to let you know that you can reach us at any time at these email addresses you see below. And of course, feel free to also follow us in our social media accounts and watch the webinars we have already uploaded in our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgia. And we will, of course, have all these slides available on our website so people can take more time to go through them. They can also then ask specific questions if need be. I see there's a lot of questions in the chat about prerequisites, what level of knowledge people need to have. You have a bit of information about this already on the webpage. I will now turn to Dr. Agava, who is going to explain the training proposed by ISRO.
Thank you, Nathalie. So, good afternoon and good morning and good evening. This is S.P. Agrawal from Indian Space Research Organization, and I'm going to talk about overview of ISRO training on remote sensing applications for crop mapping and monitoring. So basically the title of the course is Remote Sensing Application for Crop Mapping and Monitoring. Duration and dates, it is a 2-day training program. We are organizing this program on October 5th as well as on October 7th. The time is basically from 10 hours to 16 hours, basically in the morning, forenoon, 2 hours lectures, in the afternoon, this is a hands-on exercise. And it is Indian Standard Time, please note, this is very important. It is basically plus 5:30 UTC. The mode of the training will be virtual through MS Team. Organization of the course, there will be 2 lectures in the morning and 1 hands-on in the afternoon on each day. The medium of instructions is English. Our faculties are basically very experienced faculty from ISRO and other international organizations. Learning objective of this course to understand the utilization of Earth observation data for various aspects of crop mapping and monitoring to ensure the food security. You can register on this training in the website isat.irs.gov.in. Either you can click on this or you can go to UNOOSA web page where you can click at the ISRO portal. As far as content is concerned, so day 1, this is on 5th of October. There will be 2 lectures. The first lecture will be overview of remote sensing and EO system, and it will be delivered by a very reputed person of ISRO, Dr. Vinay Kumar Dadwal. He is having more than 40 years experience in the field of remote sensing application for natural resource management, especially in agriculture. And he is going to talk about overview of remote sensing and current global EO missions that provide data for agriculture studies. Lecture 2, it will be delivered on remote sensing application of agriculture and delivered by Dr. K.R. Manjunath. He is Associate Director of ISRO Headquarters, and he is having experience of more than 3 decades in the field of remote sensing application in agriculture. He is going to talk about various agriculture applications from crop acreage, conditions, crop yield monitoring, drought and flood assessment, inputs for pest and disease monitoring that he is going to discuss in his lecture. Then in the afternoon, there will be a hands-on exercise which will be given by Dr. Dipanvita Haldar of Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. She is having experience of more than 2 decades, and she is going to talk about image interpretation and digital image processing, especially for crop classification. And it will be like image interpretation, then Indian satellite data products, RGB formation, FCC generation, image interpretation using FCC with respect to different land use land cover classes, digital image processing, and all these aspects he is going to cover. So this is about the day 1. Now, day 2, mainly it will be focused on crop mapping and monitoring, especially on rice. So first lecture will be on global crop mapping concept for major crops like rice, wheat, corn, soybean, technology tools and stakeholders. And this will be delivered. We are in touch with a few professors. Very soon we will tell you the name. He is going to cover the various mapping techniques prevalent in the global scenario for various field crops, the past crop monitoring missions and their evolution in the current context in the future as well as in the future. Then lecture 4, it is going to be on remote sensing application for rice crop mapping and monitoring using both optical and SAR data, and it will be covered by Liton from France, Toulouse, France. And she is going to talk about use of optical and micro data for rice crop mapping and monitoring using different global EO missions. And finally, we will have a hands-on on rice crop mapping and deriving inputs for yield modeling using optical and SAR data. This is going to be done on Google Earth Engine. So basically in this We are going to cover about the pre-processing of Sentinel-1 SAR data, classification of rice crop and crop mapping using temporal backscatter signature and using AI ML schemes, generation of driving variables for yield estimation, pre-processing of Sentinel-2 MSI data, deriving rice planting date from time series of NDVI Sentinel-2, computation of NDVI and LSWI over rice area using Sentinel-2 pre-processed data, estimating water scalar, estimation of incident photosynthetically active radiation, estimation of FPAR, etc. So this is all about the course. So thank you very much. This is all over from me.
Thank you very much for a very extensive overview and a very interesting course. So that just completes the overview of the various courses that are going to be offered throughout the month of October. Some courses, such as the multi-online course of UNOOSA, is already available now. The courses have different level of requirements in terms of expertise. You have a bit more information about this on our webpage. And then please have a look at the specific web pages of the various training courses. So today the purpose was really to give you a short overview of what is available. Don't hesitate to contact the responsible for each of the courses. You have all the information available on our website, as well as the link on where to register for the courses that will be live. And we hope very much that we will find that you will join the course and find them very useful. Thank you very much for joining us today, and enjoy the courses.